Good morning and welcome to September 23rd, 2024's edition of the council meeting. Do we have anybody registered for open mic? Nope. Anybody here wishing to speak at open mic? Just our lovely delegation. Looking for an approval of the agenda, and I've got two things to add. One would be budget consultation dates. Can be staff reports for decision 10.3. And Kevin, can you speak to 10.1, please?
Sure. Kathy? Just looking forward. I'm good at delegating.
Perfect.
Good morning, Council. We're just looking for item 10.1 to be moved to a different council meeting. We've got some new information that we'd like to incorporate into a report for council.
Excuse me. Anything else? No. Those in favor of adding the budget consultation dates to the agenda, 10.3. That will be added, and removing 10.1. Those in favor? Also carried. Thank you. Looking for an approval of the agenda as amended. Councillor Blatz, those in favor? Excuse me. 4.1, adoption of the minutes. My tea is trying to kill me. Moved by Councillor Elliott. Those in favor? Oh.
Don't throw up.
Excuse me. Business arising from the minutes. Council action tax summary. Go ahead.
Yeah. I move that council accepts the council action task summary dated August 26, 2024 as information.
Moved by Councillor Aberle. Any updates from staff that they'd like to go over, or questions from council? Nope. Council have any questions? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Delegations. So we have WDACS and WCTS here for a presentation. Welcome.
I know, right? Some days. Good morning. Good morning, Mayor Gandam and Council. I'm Marilyn Connor, and I am the Executive Director of WDACS. Today, I'm representing the Wetaskiwin Transportation Coalition, which is WDACS and Wetaskiwin Transcom Services, and we've been managing and operating accessible transportation services since July 1 of 2023. I am pleased to be presenting today with Wayne DeLallo, the President of the Wetaskiwin Community Transportation Society. Our goal today is to provide an update on transportation services for today and into 2025. WDACS and Wetaskiwin Transcom Service continue to manage and operate specialized transportation in our community. We will continue to ensure efficient and effective operation of specialized transportation while WCTS continues in its development. We have addressed specialized transportation in our community with the 3 buses on lease from the city. The vehicles are aging and requiring higher cost of maintenance and repairs. As an important demonstration of our commitment towards specialized transportation in our community, WDACS will be donating proceeds raised at our 48th annual Pumpkin Ball to WCTS. The proceeds will be used towards the purchase of a new van.
Morning, everyone. My name is Wayne Delisle. I represent the Wetaskiwin Community Transportation Society, and we continue to work towards establishing the structure necessary to take over this service. WCTS is currently overcoming obstacles.
Through the chair, we need mic.
You want me to start over? Morning, Mayor.
This is Wayne.
Good morning, Wayne.
Well, you said yes. So I don't know if you've taped everything. So anyway, as you know, my name is Wayne, and I'm representing Wetaskiwin Community Transportation Society as we continue to work towards establishing the structure necessary to take over this service. WCTS is currently overcoming obstacles in the process of regaining its charitable status with CRA. Efforts to acquire past records, submit returns for previous years, and update bylaw details have contributed to the extended delay in this process. The plan is for service to be transferred to this nonprofit society on or before April 1st, 2025. Our combined focus has been on ensuring the transition will be effective and that essential service will be viable and sustainable into the future. Strategies to generate revenue are being developed and implemented.
WDACS stepped in with Wetaskiwin Transcom Services to ensure specialized transportation in Wetaskiwin continued but beyond July 1, 2023. Initially, the $170,000 provided from the city was intended to support 6 months of service. Our partnership has managed the 6 months of monies across an additional 8 months and is now using the second grant awarded from the city. Provided there are no unanticipated large repairs, the combined grants from the city should carry the first month of expenses into 2025. Wetaskiwin Transcom Services has increased ridership revenue by 48%, and they continue to look for ways to increase this revenue. As the vehicles age, we anticipate increased repair costs. As well, we've been advised that insurance costs will increase under WCTS as they do not have the historical experiences that WDACS has, leading to much higher premiums. After rider revenue is applied to operational expenses, the annual cost of service is forecasted to be $210,000 annually. The service cost the city about $115,000 more per year to operate.
Transportation Coalition. I got confused here. The fonts were different size, so I didn't know. Anyway, that's as I, where was I? The Transportation Coalition, WDACS, and Wetaskiwin Transcom Service will continue to actively work with the Wetaskiwin Community Transportation Society and the City of Wetaskiwin to ensure both viability and accessibility of transportation in Wetaskiwin. WCTS will engage in fundraising and grant application initiatives. We'll also focus on raising awareness and brand identity. The city's acknowledgement of the vital transportation service has been underscored by its involvement with the WCTS board and the provision of the grant funds. Ensuring the continuation of this crucial service into 2025 will require a yearly financial contribution from the city. Monies raised through ridership revenue, sponsorship grants, and fundraising activities, for example, will continue to pay for operations first. If council doesn't fund continued operations, This essential community service will terminate in early January 2025. The impact on our most vulnerable citizens, families, businesses will be significant. Our community's most vulnerable people and their families will be hit hard.
He did go past his spot. But look at us working together. Monday morning, right? Seniors and their families rely on the service to get to their healthcare needs, have their healthcare needs met, along with preventing social isolation. Children and adults who have multiple disabilities rely on the service to get to their programs, volunteer sites, work sites, and healthcare appointments. Without this service, the viability of NFPs who've served this community upwards of 60 years may not be sustainable. Hundreds of employees work at these NFPs and would lose their employment. In turn, economic development in Wetaskiwin would be compromised. 4,000 is the number of hours individuals who attend Horizon Center volunteer annually. These individuals are an integral part of the volunteer base within the city and surrounding areas of Wetaskiwin, giving back to their community to many organizations such as Salvation Army Food Bank, Church and Store, Meals on Wheels, Reynolds Alberta Museum, Neighbors Outreach Wetaskiwin, Farm Animal Rescue, and Rehoming Movement. That one actually may not be what is going on now. However, other ones are Good Shepherd, Peace Hills Lodge, Madison Manor, and the Wetaskiwin Animal Clinic. Those are about a few things that people are able to access. In this, I don't know, do we have 10 minutes? Maybe we'll talk a little more. In this brief presentation, it's really important for us to say, without this service, more than just individuals with disabilities and more than just seniors will be hit and will be hit hard. For some of these organizations who rely on volunteerism, they will struggle with no transportation to access day programs. Individuals will not be able to participate as they have, which in turn would take away from other nonprofits, agencies, and businesses in the city. Another point I'll add is without the transportation and without community access, people with disabilities will be essentially institutionalized in their own homes. Which brings us to why we're actually here today. Since July 1, our coalition has been both effective and efficient. Revenues increased by 48% due to new riders and services being offered. We've held the cost of rides to ensure services are accessible to our citizens living on fixed incomes. Our community's most vulnerable residents rely on this service. Our coalition has been a good steward of the city grant and has managed an additional 8 months of service under the original 6-month grant. Also, as stated earlier, services under our model are more than $115,000 per year less than under the city's management. This hard work and subsequent success would never have been realized without the support from the city. The grants you've awarded have made it possible to maintain this valuable service. Without question, the monies from the city and the work of the coalition have resulted in a win-win scenario for our community. To ensure the ongoing viability of specialized transportation services, we are presenting 2 requests. First, we are respectfully requesting a grant from the city in the amount of $210,000 for fiscal 2025, and that the lease of the 3 buses be extended beyond December 31st, 2024. The request in front of you today is essential. It feels like a make or break circumstance. Without approval of these requests, transportation is finished in the city. The impact of such a loss is immeasurable. I will also add that thankfully our WDACS board has agreed to continue as we have. We had thought our work was done. It's like a year ago. Feels like a year ago. And so we are looking forward to our continued partnership with WCTS so that they too can be viable and sustainable into the future. Our Transportation Coalition welcomes any questions you may have. This concludes our comments, Mayor Gandam.
Thank you. I'll look for a motion to accept his information. Councillor Blatz. First of all, thank you very much for all of the work that you guys have done over the last almost 2 years.
It seems like 2 years.
Yeah? The impact that you have on the community obviously is great, and the change that you've made to the transit service has been fantastic, so thank you very much. Second of all, does administration need a motion to have these added to the budget, and then have those talks with the extension of the bus lease, or is that going to happen?
Our intent, through the mayor, through the chair to council, our intent is to add this item to our operating business case budget deliberations in the middle of October.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. Through the chair to the delegation. So, of course, thank you for everything that you guys do, and I do get to have a little bit of an inside view to it, so thank you. But the reason I'm taking this opportunity is for you to take it back to your board, to the WDACS board, to just say thank you, especially to them for continuing to, I would say, help this entire community go through this. Work through the ability to do this at this point, because I know it's a little tenuous for the board that's has its own mission and mandate. So I just want to say thank you to them.
Councillor Bronco. One, turn your mic on.
Turn the mic on, yeah, thank you. Corporate sponsors, have you guys been really heavily pushing for corporate sponsorship to label your vans? And
Until we get, do I
Hold
speak to that, or do you?
Whoever is just needs the mic.
Oh,
I can,
Mr. Chair?
I can start.
What do you think?
Through the chair to Councillor Branco. In all transparency, it has been a challenging process in that we as in WDACS has been managing along, and we have not put our own energies into corporate sponsorship or grant writing because this was all intended to be short term. The CRA challenges have extended what we've been doing, and so normally, if this had been ours and we had the resources necessary, yes, all of those steps would have been taken. But I hope you understand why, from the WDACS perspective, we have not pursued grants, and nor have we pursued any other revenues. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, we are prepared to donate what we're raising for community, and it will be a community event through our pumpkin ball. So. That's a bit all that we've done on our end, and I will pass this over to WCTS.
So through the mayor to Councillor Branco, we examine and are examining getting corporate sponsorship. One of the holdups, of course, is not having our charitable donation approved by CRA. The other aspect is in reviewing the advertising, it becomes complicated if we were to use it as a charitable donation, because if a business advertises, then you have to look at the formula of how much is for their business and how much is actually a donation. So, so advertising on the buses is our goal. But we're a very small board, and we have no we can't even buy a banner. We have no operating funds because we're just struck up in Grant Thornton. We did have one donation of $5,000 from an individual, and to get all of our financials, past financials completed by Grant Thornton cost, well, first they wanted $5,700, which we didn't have. They reviewed their quote and what they had quoted us, and it was brought down to $4,300, so we've paid that now, so that we're clear with Grant Thornton. But that was a huge hurdle that nobody was expecting. We don't have money for brochures, we don't have money for banners, so there's nothing to really entice or offer to businesses right now to show that we're even sustainable to have a brochure to hand them. But we will look around. The board will. There's very many people, like Horizon Center donates materials, so we will have brochures. But we're doing first things first. And donations are important, and they are on our agenda, and they are in our forecasted budget going forward. So we see the potential of the buses having ads on them. And it's a way for the community to recognize those people that are actually donating, even though it's advertised, and it's a donation. So we're working on it, if that's the short answer.
Okay, the other two more questions, but one, you're looking at purchasing a new handy van. Okay, a new van. If you didn't purchase that new van, could the ones you have in your fleet still be capable to carry your operations? And, you know, you're $210,000, a lot of money from taxpayers. But if that $210,000 would include the part of the van purchase?
No, we would be applying for a grant for the other part of what WDACS is donating, and it's itemized donation that can only be spent on a van. So the rest we'll be looking for a grant for, and there are grants for purchases, but there's no grants for operational costs.
Okay, and insurance cost. Can you, to administration, have they been piggybacked to the city insurance?
No.
Through the chair to council, the group is run independently and not on the city's insurance at all.
Any chance, or because they're independent, they don't have a new status?
They have their own insurance.
Okay, so there's no way you could piggyback, because we do have other, I believe, organizations that I think piggyback to the city, or piggyback, I shouldn't say piggyback. So you couldn't tag along with our insurance to make it a cheaper cost?
Through the chair to council, we would have to check with our insurance company to see if that was possible regarding this particular case. So we could certainly check with our insurance company and see what that additional cost would be and if they would cover it.
Thank you. No further questions.
If not, we can set you up with AMSC through Alberta Municipalities. They're a not-for-profit insurance provider as well, who the city would get some of their insurance from. So whether it was through the city or not, you might be able to have some savings there through the insurance. Councillor Blatz.
Thank you. Through the chair, once again, always thank you guys for the work that you're doing. I know it's really tough stuff to do, but I'm really happy that you guys are excelling at it. One of the questions that, well, the only question that I have is, do you have an update on your monthly ridership and how many people are using your service right now?
This is for someone short. Sorry. Through the chair to Councillor Blatz, we right now have about 195 individual riders. This was just last month, so I just pulled up those numbers. But that does not account for the 6 to 8 group outings, if you will, that are happening with our seniors. And those are happening 6 to 8 times a month. So there are, so the 195 is really not an accurate number, because then there are upwards actually of 12 to 15 people per ride, up to 6 times a month for the seniors who are able to address social isolation. So it's much bigger than the 195.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to Marilyn and Wayne, I would like to say sincerely thank you very much. And you're working off the sides of your desk. You're all volunteers, and this was not in your job descriptions, and I realize that. So I would like to say thank you. are there no grants available from seniors or persons with developmental disabilities that could help offset the cost? Our provincial and federal governments are always giving transportation grants, but they always seem to go to the big municipalities. Is that still the case?
Through the chair to Councillor Elliott, yes, that is still the case. I can speak to PDD. They only fund what they call critical and urgent, and only have done that for, gosh, it seems 3 or 4 years. They do not even fund transportation for people that are in PDD-funded services. So on an individual basis, some individuals through AISH can apply for a subsidy, but that's for their ridership costs. So in terms of grants through provincial government, we are not aware of any. But again, I would say that through my organization, we have not put the energy into that aspect because this was always meant to be short term. Right. I would also speak to the importance, though, of diversifying revenue, which I think both of you have alluded to. That is important, and that will be important moving forward because there can never be, or there should not be, a reliance on one source. So that will remain important, and I will tell you that Leslie Wilson and myself, we serve at the side of the board as liaisons, and we're able to bring some of our expertise to the table. And our organization has 60 years experience of raising monies. So we're prepared to continue to support, to look at how can they diversify their revenue into 2025 so that this is viable. The intention is not to put everything on the city in this example, but we do need your help now because we have not been positioned to make those asks of other groups. Wayne also mentioned it's a lot easier to get capital grants than operational grants. And he spoke to some of the challenges that they have right now. Not insurmountable, so I want to share, even though they don't have funds right now, they will be operational, and all of us are doing our best to make that happen.
And just the pumpkin ball is on the 26th of October, and you said it's the 48th. You usually use the funds raised from the pumpkin ball to offset WDACS. So now all of a sudden there's going to be a shortfall in WDACS as well then, if you're going to give, because last year was somewhere around $60,000 you made or something at the pumpkin ball. So I appreciate the fact that you're actually going to be giving up some of your operating capital to help the transit system run.
Chair, through to Mr. Elliott. True. I'm not going to lie. It was a big, it's going to be a big donation. And last year, we actually raised $90,000.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Which is our largest in history. And what we looked at this year in celebrating 60 years of service is community. And the only reason WDACS is strong is because of community. It's community that supports us, and it's us that serves community. And so we looked at this opportunity as, again, to wear out a saying, it is win-win, to use those funds that we could be using towards a new home. We're going to use that towards transportation, because we firmly believe you can't just ask for something without giving yourself. And so we are hopeful that this generosity from WDACS will be seen and understood by the city in our equally impressive request of $210,000.
Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Pumpkin decorating has already started at my house.
Fantastic. Some of the best.
Anything further? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We might have to do a little bit of agenda shuffling. We're going to start with 9.2, monthly city manager report to council. And we'll go back to 9.1 once Shelley gets here.
Good morning, thank you. on behalf of the city manager, I'll just go through some of the highlights of the monthly city manager report to council, starting with the priorities and challenges. There's a number of priorities that we're facing right now, finalizing the customer service matrix and developing policies with response to uncivil customers, health and safety for workers, utility arrears and disconnections, and we're continuing to meet with ministers to lobby as council is as well for more paid RCMP positions. Some of the challenges that we're currently facing is we've had a much warmer fall than normal, and I think this week we have a couple days in the high 20s again. So the grass continues to grow after we've let go all of our summer staff, so that's challenging to keep up with that, although it is slowing down. And we have several longstanding enforcement issues that we're trying to resolve. There's a number of events listed in the city manager update, as well as talking about some department updates, some wins and challenges within human resources. There are project updates, regards to a number of projects. I think council is more or less up to date on all those. We have a number of department wins listed there as well. Yeah, just kind of a brief summary. That's all I have.
Okay. Looking for a motion to accept as information. Councillor Elliott. Any discussion? Councillor Bronco.
Question, our wastewater treatment, how's that going? On schedule, opening soon, or?
Through the chair to council. So the wastewater treatment plant project is, or has been delayed, I guess by about a month, and it's only, the project is going well, but they are having to do more testing because they couldn't get certain bacteria to grow during the summer. So there was that part, but the components are all there. They just have to wait for the testing to be able to turn it over.
And council will be notified so we can have a grand opening or something like that?
Through the chair to council, all of that is going to be determined as soon as the testing is completed, and then yeah, there will be notification out to the community when that is completed for sure.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just further to what Kevin was saying, just to remind people that the Manlock 10th anniversary and Customer Appreciation Week happens starting today, and there's a number of activities going on at the Manlock Center and in the drill halls. I'm sorry, the Co-op Rec Center. And just so that people know that there's these things going on. As well, next Monday is National Indigenous Peoples Day, and there are a number of activities going on too. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's Orange Shirt Day, not National Indigenous Peoples Day, but there are a number of activities going on to support that as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. So we will move the one committee of the whole item until the GM gets here. So we'll move on to 10.2, capital budget approval.
Good morning, Council. 2025 capital budget approval. This RFD is to obtain council approval for the 2025 capital budget. The city's capital budget funds the repair, maintenance, and replacement of critical infrastructure in the city, such as roads, sidewalks, and city facilities. Administration had proposed and council had deliberated upon the 2025 capital budget and 5-year capital plan on September 9 and 10, 2024. The proposed capital budget totals $4,237,780, of which $3.89 million will be funded from grants and $347,280 will be funded from reserves. The operational impact of the 2025 capital budget is approximately $39,000. This is equivalent to about a 0.14% increase in the tax rate. Also, during the deliberations, Council requested that administration bring back 3 new RFDs, which are as follows: renovation to the Co-op Place Air Cadet Building, playgrounds, and city entrance signs. Administration is seeking Council's approval of the budget that was deliberated upon. Thank you.
Councillor Aberley.
Thank you. I move that City Council approves the 2025 capital budget in the amount of $4,237,780, with $3,890,500 to be funded from grants, and $347,280. That's, I don't usually talk in these numbers. $387,280 to be funded from reserves.
Moved by Councillor Aberley. I don't think you had the numbers right.
Yeah, you said the wrong number, 347, not 380. Yeah. Said from reserves 380, 3 billion, or 380, but it's 347, not 380.
Yeah, for the heading under the capital budget approval shows different numbers than the recommended motion.
Well,
That's not your fault. Yeah, go ahead, Tulu.
Is there a question?
Yeah, so the motion under the heading for the 2025 capital budget approval says that we're approving $4,229,823 with $3,857,200 to be funded from grants and $372,623 to be funded from reserves. And then under the administration's recommended motions, it says approves the 2025 capital budget in the amount of $4,237,780 with $3,890,500 to be funded from grants and $347,280 to be funded from reserves. So it's just, they're different numbers.
Okay. I have the printed version and I don't have the same information that you have, so bear with me.
Okay.
so may I just clarify?
So I think the updated
numbers?
numbers is what's online right now. I do apologize, Council. I'm not sure when the package that you have was downloaded, but there's no errors on what I have and what's actually online right now.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. So I read the 347,280, which was in the RFD that's in our package. That is the amount, which is different than the amount that is in the agenda. That is why we're confused. Yeah, that's great, but they're saying so our agenda is incorrect versus my council package. Okay. So the number I read was what
The
they're
right one?
saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering if Councillor Billingsley or Councillor Nielsen had any questions that they submitted prior to this. So they were okay with this then? Apparently.
Apparently.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so motion made by Councillor Aberley. Any other discussion? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried, thank you. And we can go back. Do you need a minute, Shelley? Do you need a minute? We're actually on your agenda item. Oh, perfect. Okay, we'll go back to 9.1, amendments to whistleblowing policy CO-050. Did you turn your mic on? Sorry, is your mic on? There we go.
Sorry about that. Good morning, Council. The amendments to the whistleblowing policy, CO-050, have been presented to you in a red line format. This is to enable you to see the changes, proposed changes from the original policy. Administration agrees with legal counsel recommendation that council actions not be addressed by the whistleblower policy and instead be dealt with through the council code of conduct. This will mitigate potential for complaints to be made under both the council code of conduct and the whistleblower policy for the same actions, and prevent processes used for the same allegations with potentially different outcomes. Welcome any questions that you may have.
Okay. Looking for a motion to accept as information. Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. I move that Council accepts the amendments to the whistleblowing policy CO-050 as information.
Thank you. I'll open it up for discussion. Go ahead. Yeah.
Through the chair to Shelley, I just have a quick question. I don't understand, so that's just if you can clarify for me, what the alternative is for a member of the public to do this, right? So what is, like, I appreciate whistleblower and council code of conduct being separate, and so I don't have an issue with that, but I think it's for my knowledge, I wouldn't be able to recommend how a member of public goes forward then.
So through the chair to council, the intent is that for a complaint by a member of the public against a member of administration, that would fall under the whistleblower policy. For a complaint by a member of the public to a member of council, that would fall under the council code of conduct.
Does it not say in our council code of conduct to use the whistleblower policy?
That will need to be amended as well.
So that becomes my question at this point. Just before that's amended, are we in flux?
Through the chair to council, at this point in time, with an unapproved amendments to the whistleblower policy, we're not in flux, but we will be once this is approved, and we'll mitigate that by making the required changes to the council code of conduct.
So that's why this is just as information for now.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Anything further? We're ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Shelley. 10.3, budget consultation dates.
Hello again, Council. In May 13th, administration presented the 2025 budget schedule with a public engagement to be held in May, which was successfully done, and a summary of the input was provided to Council at the beginning of capital budget deliberation. Administration would like to amend the schedule to host public engagement sessions in October as opposed to September as previously approved. We're looking to hold a session at a date to be announced at a future date. We'll work with the executive assistant to find a suitable date to bring the budget again out to the public. It will include the capital budget, and we'll be seeking feedback from the public as to what they would like to see again in the operating budget. We will not be presenting the proposed operating budget at that time during the engagement session, since council hasn't seen it yet. Thank you.
So what's the motion you're looking for? Oh, sorry, it's on the page.
That council,
Yep.
okay.
Amend the 2025 budget schedule to hold a budget public engagement session in October. Looking for a motion? Go ahead. Councillor Elliott.
So moved, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I have a question. So in our plan, are we, excuse me, are we going to do one prior to our budget deliberations on the 28th and then one after our budget deliberations?
Through the chair, that is what administration would propose, is to do one before and still before the budget is passed, but after deliberations to have another session with the public.
Okay, so we're meeting on the 28th and 29th of October, so we're going to have a public information session or meeting with the public prior to that. And then are we going to have, I thought we were going to have another one before we pass the final budget. Have another meeting with the public in order to say this is what council is proposing, and do you have any ideas before we finalize the budget? Is that not correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Hayliott, we could definitely do that. In the schedule that was presented to council, we had only planned for 2 public engagement sessions in October. We did not schedule one for after deliberations, but we can now host one in October before the deliberations and host one after the 3-day deliberations.
I don't know how the rest of council feels, but then to me it seems that the public has input into it. If we meet with them after it's finalized, it's already been passed.
No, the actual passing of the budget would happen after the fact, but going through deliberations isn't passing the budget.
Pardon me?
Going through the deliberations wouldn't be passing of the budget.
No, but aren't we proposing to pass the budget before Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. We have a meeting before we pass the final budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tulu.
Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. Through the chair to Tulu, I like the idea of having information, or what am I trying to say? Engagement sessions before and after. My only concern with the proposal is one meeting before limits only people that were available during that one time would be available. So are there other ways, i.e. will we advertise, please, advertise might be the wrong word, but connect with council, here is the presentation, things will be available for people to look at before both meetings, so that if they are unable to attend that session itself, they know that we're still available to listen to their or hear their comments.
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, the residents can reach out to council with input into the budget throughout the year. However, so if anyone is not able to attend, was not able to attend May 25th, which we've done already, and is not able to attend the session in October, we can have discussions with our communications team to see if there's an avenue online to submit their thoughts and comments, and we could have a box at front desk as well for a period of time for people to put notes in, and then we will collect and gather that information and bring it back to council in a summary. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We also have coffee with council on October the 10th at 7:30 at the A&W, 7:30 a.m., correct? If people wanted to come and share any of their comments with us at that time. So October the 10th at the A&W at 7:30 in the morning. Thank you.
Anything further? We're ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried. Item 11.1, Council Committee Reports and Attendance. Councillor Elliott.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that council accepts the council committee reports and attendance as information.
Moved by Councillor Elliott.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to share a couple of things. I was at a chamber session on Friday called the Unleashing Power of Culture and Arts on Tourism, and found it very, very worthwhile. It was held at the Leduc West Antique Society building. They have the largest collection of Rolls Royces in Canada at this place, and it was really quite amazing. I didn't even know it existed. It's just west of Leduc. And it's very interesting. But one of the things that came out was, and then I went to the Community Safety and Wellbeing virtual meeting, and it was about downtown safety. And both of them talked about murals for one thing, cleaning up the downtown. Out of the session in Leduc, there's a lady there who is the chair of their Urban Arts Society, and she is an international artist who's done murals all over the world and has offered to adjudicate murals in Wetaskiwin and help us maybe even plan an event. So, and the main thing that came out of both of those sessions was the fact that cities that are cleaning up their downtown have a downtown business association, and they work in conjunction with the community and with council to clean up the downtown area. So I found that very interesting. And I just give a shout out to the Legion. I did the Walk for Veterans on Saturday, and it was very well organized, and the money goes to help veterans in Canada. So thank you.
Councillor Blatz.
Thank you. The one thing that I really wanted to report on was something that happened on the weekend, which was the celebration of the Wetaskiwin Elks Lodge number 91. Mayor Gandam and I attended their celebration, and it was something that was really amazing to see, just the level of passion that these volunteers have in our community. They've donated more than $100,000 to the Wetaskiwin Health Foundation. They donated $40,000 towards the purchase of the Horizon Center and $113,000 in marching grant to the Wetaskiwin Senior Center building. So I just wanted to say that they're an incredible organization in our community, and it was really heartwarming to actually attend their celebration. So just wanted to give them a shout out.
I got caught up on my attendance committee reports. I will touch on a few things just from August. Had the opportunity to attend Frank and Janice Lockhart's 60th anniversary, which was a lot of fun. We've done a number of coffee with the community events so far, and looking forward to the ones that are coming up. We've had some really good conversations, and I've enjoyed reaching out and having the opportunity to hear from our community, as well as just following up on Councillor Blatz's Elks 100th anniversary over the weekend. They go about their business without looking for much acknowledgement, and they've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 25 years in Wetaskiwin. One of the comments made at the event, they had said that if they weren't a part of the community making those donations, that government would have to fill in where they're not. And I'm afraid that I don't think that that's what would happen. The community would just go without. And so it's because of service groups like Elks who are so committed to the community. And what was really cool was there were so many familiar faces that I didn't know were Elks, but have been working hard in the community. And it just doubles up on who our volunteers are and how they are overlapping in different organizations that they serve in our community. So I want to thank all of them for all of their hard work. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I forgot to mention that you, Councillor Nielsen, and myself welcomed the Japanese delegation last week, and there were 52 students from Japan, plus about 12 leaders who came to Wetaskiwin, and I understand they enjoyed their time and were sad to be leaving again. So thanks to all of the volunteers from the Ashoro Society and all the people who billeted the 52 students plus their leaders. Thank you.
That reminds me, I got to send Yoshi the pictures from that day too. Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 12.1 bylaws, tax installment payment plan bylaw 2064-24. No worries.
The tax installment payment plan bylaw. Council deliberated on the tax installment payment plan bylaw at the September 9 meeting of council. Administration hereby presents this bylaw now for council approval and is seeking all 3 readings. Thank you.
Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. I move that City Council gives first reading to the tax installment payment plan bylaw 2064-24 as presented.
Moved by Councillor Aberley. Any discussion? We're ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried.
I move that City Council gives second reading to the tax installation payment plan bylaw 2064-24.
Moved by Councillor Aberley. Any discussion? Ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried.
I move that City Council gives unanimous consent to move to third reading of the tax installation payment plan bylaw 2064-24.
Moved by Councillor Aberley. Looking for unanimous consent. Those in favor? Carried unanimously.
And I move that City Council gives third and final reading to the tax installment payment plan bylaw 2064-24.
Moved by Councillor Aberley. Any discussion? We're ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Looking for a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Blatz. You want to just read out the section, please?
I move that council close the meeting to the public at 9:57 a.m. to discuss matters arising related to section 27(1)A of the FOIP Act.
Moved by Councillor Blatz. Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. Looking for a motion to come out of closed session, please. Councillor Blatz at 10:39. Those in favor? Perfect. Anything else from administration for new business? Anything from council for new business? Councillor Aberly?
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. I would like to add a motion about online budget consultations for this year's budget, public consultations.
Okay, do you want to give that to Noman, please, and Jessica? All right, go ahead, Councillor Aberly.
Thank you, Mayor Gandam. So I move that City Council directs administration to arrange to conduct an online budget engagement session prior to the 2025 budget deliberations.
Moved by Councillor Aberly. Any discussion? Okay, ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you. There's nothing else. We will adjourn at 10:43. Thank you very much.